Here's a snapshot of Line and Form for June 2026. Line and Form is built to make clean, vector-based line work, the kind of art you would draw with a pen or a CNC machine. It mimics the way a pen works on paper, filling shapes with lines, patterns, and hatching. The first page you see is the gallery, which is a great way to get started or see other inspiration. Click on any of the items and you're immediately taken into the editor where you can modify the file any way you want. Okay, let's move on to a project. I like this spiral as a starting point, so I'll click on it and I'm immediately in the project editor. The editor has two sections. The left panel contains all the settings for the artwork and the right panel is the preview. I have zoom controls and I can also undo or redo. The left-hand panel is where I do the majority of my work. Starting with the upper right, I have the page control. When I click on it, I have all the settings I need to change the size, format, and the color of my page. I'm going to spec some light blue poster paper here, and you'll see as I modify it, the entire interface changes to match my selection. Okay, I've modified my page, and now I want to focus on the artwork. Artwork is created through objects called generators. At the top of most generators is the line color and weight. Then you have all the specific settings for the generator, then its position on the page. I can change a setting like the radius of my spiral by either clicking and dragging on the label. You'll see the cursor changes and I can just drag. And if I want to be precise, I can click the number and type. While typing, I can also press the up and down buttons to increment in greater detail. If I don't like the changes, this little reverse button sets it back to the default. For some generators, there are modifiers directly in the preview window. So in the case of this spiral, I can move it around the page. But also I can change the pitch. So let's say I wanted to make two of that spiral. I can simply duplicate it, change some settings, and I have it in a new location. I'm happy with how these look, but I want to move them both at the same time. The easiest way to do that is to put them in a folder. Folders have an extra controller, which enables more direct edit settings, so I can move, rotate, and scale all of them at the same time. One final thing to mention with folders, the settings are parametric, so all the changes are non-destructive. If I want the generator to look the same as before, I can simply drag it out of the folder and it's back to the way it was. So now I'm realizing that I want to make a little array of all these spirals instead of just copying one or two of them. The best way to do that is with a modifier. I'll select the radial pattern and instantly I have an interesting graphic. I can change the center point and rotation directly in the preview window, and I can also change a ton of settings in the left-hand panel. So again, this is all parametric. So once I've added the pattern and want to change the original spiral, I can still do that. And I can stack multiple modifiers on top of each other to get some really cool effects. So that's generators, folders, and modifiers. And now what do I do with my artwork? That's where the file menu comes in. I can always drag the drawing order to see how it'll draw. And I have info about how many paths and points are in the drawing. And in the file menu, I have a few options. Probably the most important function is saving and loading the project. While this is web-based, it's not storing anything for you on the server yet. So if you want to see your project again, you need to save it to your desktop. The other two features are to translate the artwork into SVGs to use in your vector editor of choice and a G-code exporter to print on your machine. I'll say right now, the SVG exporter works great, and it should work well in Illustrator or Figma. The G-code exporter works great for me, and me alone, on my one Avid CNC machine, running the Mach 4 CNC controller. I have never tested it with anything else. Please understand the risks involved when running something like this. If you want to test it out, I added an easy link to my favorite G-code viewer to make your checks as easy as possible. So that's a quick snapshot of where we're at with Line and Form. If you made it to this part of the video, first, let me say thanks, and this is the part where I ask for your support. Hit that like button and subscribe. Please share with someone, use the software, and share what you make. I'd love to see it. If you like free obscure vector generation software, consider buying me a coffee to support the development. And that's it. Check the description below for the latest status updates, and thanks for watching.